Thank you for inviting me today, Vinny. So good to talk to you again about IFS and what we're doing, and also why we're different in the market today. So good to see you again.
And I'm looking forward to, specifically, you talk about IFS Industries. I've been talking to a number of vendors about their industry focus. I know you're very, very different than others, so looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, I think the way I try and phrase it is we're not everything to everybody. We know where we're very strong, and that's in 5 industries. It's aerospace and defense, so everything from airline operators through to MRO, through to defense manufacturing. We've got a focus on energy, utilities and resources. So that's your power generation, your transmission through to water and mining. We've also got construction engineering, so buildings, building new roads, building new houses, or specialty contractors or general contractors. And then we've got manufacturing, both from a discrete, equipment type of view, and also process, food and beverage, chemicals and those aspects. And then last, we've got service industries, so those that are covering facilities management or telecommunications or inspection services. And I think the reason we focus on these 5 and we don't go outside those 5 is the fact that they all share the same requirements. They all need something to look after their customers, their resources, and their people and the assets. So that's where all of our investment goes into. And then the different industries use it in slightly different ways, and we've developed that in-depth capabilities for them. And I think the reason why we're unique in the market is we're the only vendor that have got those capabilities in a single solution. So people often talk about ERP, and they talk about EAM, and they talk about FSM. In IFS Cloud, all of those capabilities are in one single data model, one single architecture, one single look and feel. And that, I believe, and I've been yet to be proven wrong on it, is unique in the market, really. And it's all composable or modular, depends on how you view it, but that's where all the investment goes into.
You know what's really different from IFS, especially your aerospace, right? I mean, you've got some of the biggest airlines in the world, some of the biggest operators in the world, a lot of maintenance of complex equipment there. Same thing with construction, right? Not too many vendors. I mean, they might talk about architecture and engineering, but true construction with all the complexities there. And then services, like you say, you're different. A lot of people will talk about, professional services, automation, PSA, and so on. I mean, you're really into field service, blue collar, trade skills, and so on. So look forward to hearing more.
And it's quite interesting because industries learn off each other. If I just take an example, you mentioned construction before, they often tend to work on very small margins out there. But what they're doing now is trying to learn from what you may want to call it traditional manufacturers on how they can improve the efficiency and scheduling of them. So they're doing more prefabrication in warehouses. And they're saying, okay, can you help us, IFS, do manufacturing? I said, well, yes, we've got whole capabilities around manufacturing. So they can plan it, schedule it, and people often call it modern methods of construction, but it's just standard manufacturing. And then they can take it out to site and install it then. I think also from energy and utilities, there's a heck of a lot of focus in renewables now. You look at the whole sustainability and things that are happening in globally, and they're saying, okay, we need to build or construct a new plant, whether it be hydrogen or other methods, and to generate a power for a local community or region or country or an office, etc. So it goes back to the point on why do we focus on these 5? It's because they've got similar requirements from a solution, and they can learn, they can take best practice on each one's. Take telco, there's a massive investment going into 5G. We're winning a lot of deals in the last 12 months, 24 months, because companies want to improve, go from 4G to the 5G and whatever 6G is going to be in the future. And they need a solution to help them not just design something, construct something, and maintain it and service it, but decommission it and, you know, reuse it at the end of the day. So we complete that full asset life cycle. So it's Vinny, I love my job and I love talking to customers and seeing when they really get the benefits from it. And that absolutely amazes me. It really is good.
And I imagine the utilities sector in the last 2 weeks, especially in Europe, my God, the world's turned upside down, right? Like you say, the hydrogen economy suddenly has become important. LNG certainly become important. Nuclear is back in consideration. So it's like remarkable how quickly things have changed.
It is. And that's not going to stop. You know, we've seen that trend over the last couple of years. You know, whether you're talking about the wind farms, you know, we've got companies now managing wind farms and also commissioning new wind farms to be set up. And it's just nice to see how they're all interacting with each other. If I talk about, you know, in construction side of it, one of our customers, well, Aston Martin, the Formula One team, they're building a new smart factory. We're helping them set up and define where things go in. And one of our other customers is actually building the building for them as well. So when you go onto site, you say, yeah, you're one of our customers. And yeah, we're talking with one of our customers. It's a small world. So it's fascinating to see how we're impacting every type of business within our focus area. So really good.
Maybe it'll open up new opportunities for industry networks for you.
Exactly. Yes. We do a lot of industry reference groups because we like to listen to our customers. We like to use them as a sounding board and an advisory capability to look at where we're going. You know, you talk about companies today, you know, we're part of their strategic thinking in a direction forward as well.
Talking about strategic, I mean, you must be all over the servitization trend, right? A lot of product companies are getting more of their margins from services, right? Post-sale services. So you must be all over that.
Yeah, that's been a big trend now in manufacturing for a while now, and it affects not just manufacturers, but it affects all industries. You take when you're renting a car, you pay by the mile. You can have guaranteed heating in your own home, but over 50% are going to go down that in the next couple of years. We've got customers now that, you know, one sells paint, but they just don't sell pots of paint. They use it for some of the ships as well, to the vessels as well. So again, there's lots of different uses of servitization. And because we've got it all in one capability, we can set up the contractual obligations. We've got the financial capabilities. We've got the technician capabilities. So all in the one suite. So they get a completely 360-degree view on what their contract outcome they're offering to the market, what the customers signed up for, and how happy the customer is and the billing schedules as well. So it gives that simplicity to a company who wants to embrace servitization, and that's the key to it.
I mean, you're clearly, you know, of all the so-called ERP type vendors, you've taken a lot of interest in the whole EAM, asset optimization space. Tell me about how that's helping in strategic thinking in companies.
Well, as I said, our focus on those industries, they all have requirements to look after assets. You know, I was reading a report recently where it said 70% of assets are over 25 years old.
Whoa.
But that's a massive figure. So you're thinking there, how can they make good use? How can they use those assets efficiently? Or how can we provide information to talk about asset investment planning? They may want to commission a new asset, buy a new asset, or they may want to continue to use their assets. Now, from our point of view, we've got, of course, the IoT sensors on the assets. You can retrofit them and then get that data in, but then how you start using that. So we've got some industry algorithms to look at the data patterns coming in and say, okay, you don't need to service this asset next month. You can delay it and still maintain that efficiency. And that's easy to quantify then, the value that they're getting from IFS, because they're saying, okay, I don't need to spend X $1,000 on that. I can extend it. And again, okay, it extends that life cycle of the machine. So by getting that information, using machine learning and AI algorithms, all those sorts of technology behind the scenes, because the user doesn't really need to know, they need to get told, okay, based on the data, this is when you need to do this particular job on this particular machine.
I heard, and you may be able to confirm it, that servitization has led to more of an interest in capex investment. For a while, capex was a dirty word, right? Like you say, 70% of assets are 25 years old. But because servitization is a revenue opportunity, a lot more companies are saying, okay, let's look at investment. There's a definite revenue opportunity. Are you seeing that? Are there tax reasons for people to invest more in assets than last few years? Are you seeing some of that?
Yeah, there's various schemes in the different countries, and it varies by region when you go through there. But it's a case of they're using it as a way to grow their business and a way to differentiate their business, because they're getting a lot of pressure from their stakeholders saying, okay, you need to grow. And they're thinking, okay, how can we target this new area, or how can we have a new revenue stream coming into our company? And it may be we need to invest in some more assets, or we may need to offer some capabilities, we may need to set up new departments. So it doesn't just affect the service area, it doesn't just affect manufacturing, it affects HR, making sure you've got the right skills, it affects finance, how you're going to manage this. And there's companies out there that can help take people on this servitization journey, because it's not just an overnight thing, it's a mindset about how you're approaching it. You're not selling based on stats and facts and figures, you're selling on, we will help you, Mr. Customer, the customers in general.
So the whole service economy, given that the assets are so much more complex, must be going through a dramatic change, right? What are you seeing?
It is, because let's take an example. Say if you had some machines that you needed servicing or maintaining, I could come to your site and I could go to the machine, and it may be some new error code or something I don't recognize. So I may then say, okay, I need to get some help. The last thing you want me to say is, sorry, Vinny, I don't know what I'm doing here. I need to schedule another technician to come and have a look at it. But instead of that, I could, from my phone, remotely call somebody, and they'll be able to see exactly what I'm seeing from my mobile phone. They'll be able to remotely guide me to be able to fix that machine or replace various units on it. So at the end of the day, I'm improving my first time fix rate, making you as a customer, my end customer, happier, and then everybody benefits then. So it's using that embedded innovation at the right time for the right purpose. That's where we can help take our customers on that digital transformation journey.
I mean, the use cases are limitless, right? You can have younger techs go out, the more experienced techs can be part of a call center. It just opens up a lot of different opportunities to optimize the service teams, if you will.
Well, you look at the market, people talk about, skilled shortage of labor. So again, we're trying to help customers and saying, okay, you don't have to have skilled technicians in every single location. You can have pockets of them, and they can support their region or their county or their country, irrespective from one single place then. So it really does help our customers take advantage of technology and not have to have all these people scattered everywhere as well.
Talking about labor shortages, I'm sure there's a lot more automation in the manufacturing sector, in your manufacturing vertical, right? Much more IoT and in much more sensors in machines, much more robotics. How are you helping people with the smart factory journey?
Yeah, well, people talk about hyper automation or the automation of everything. We play a very significant part on that. Yes, we've got automatic sensors coming in telling us to do things. We've got graphical process flows that, based on certain conditions, the users can define themselves, in addition to our off-the-shelf templates, what they want to do. So when certain conditions happen, they may say, okay, email the customer, do this in IFS, do something externally, and improve that service. So it is all about automation of those mundane tasks, or those tasks that you just want to happen under certain circumstances. For this type of customer, do these. For this type of customer, do that. And it's putting the control and the ownership of the solution and the configuration within our customers' grasps then, because they know their business will change in the future. And we don't want to put them in a straitjacket, Vinnie.
One of I know Europe in particular, Norway and so on, very, very excited about circular economy thinking, right? So reduce waste in the product design right from the beginning, right? But also reverse logistics and reuse and so on. What role do you play in that thinking?
We fully support the capability not only have a design bill of material, but actually have the reverse logistics to bring products back in, disassemble them, look at them and say, okay, can we reuse some of these elements? Or can we refurbish some of these elements, put them back into the warehouse, reuse them again for new products, as just as good as new again. So it's an important aspect that we live in a different world these days where we need to treat the environment better and we need to make more use of it. And it's much better all around them. And our customers are then using it to their advantage as well from a sustainability aspect or ESG. And that reminds me, from IFS Cloud, we've also extended on the outside to give people the ability to use our sustainability module via Microsoft Teams. So they could be sitting in Microsoft Teams and interacting with IFS as if it was using IFS on the web anyway. So we're trying to expand and making sure that users can do what they do in the best way for their own use.
Yeah, I know Mark Brewer, your colleague, told me about Tomra, the Norwegian reverse vending machine.
Oh, yes.
I've heard about a few other customers, and it's pretty impressive what they're doing with the whole circular economy thinking.
Yeah, it's become, as I said, it's becoming a greater part of our lives, and it's not going to go away. It's going to become more important moving forward.
So, you mentioned digital transformation. Clearly, these are big trends. By themselves, they're bigger than a project called digital transformation. Where else are you seeing, when people talk about digital transformation, are you seeing a couple of other nuances that you don't see around other vendors?
Well, it is interesting because digital transformation can mean anything to everybody, as you know. But just
move to the cloud. It's digital transformation.
Yeah, just try and let me highlight one of our customers in the mining industry. They're going down the fully autonomous automated mine. So yeah, they're using IFS to manage it, and they've also introduced now the Boston Dynamics dogs. The ones that fall over, they can get themselves back up again and dance. They're not using them for dancing. They're using them to send down the mines to check that they're safe and everything's efficiently operating down there. So they don't need to send people down there. The dogs will go down there, check all the actual mine itself, and then report back to IFS. So that's just one example where we are helping them on that journey that they need to go through to create an autonomous mine. And it's fascinating to see how they're using our technology. Because IFS is open, they can just go straight away and do it then.
Talking about Boston Dynamics, the Super Bowl is the time when all US advertisers introduce a new commercial for the season. Yes. And my favorite commercial was robots enjoying Boston Lager. They brought the Boston robotics and the Boston beer connection together. So that was pretty clever.
Nice.
So, given that you're so focused, and then like you say, they're interconnected, but they're very focused. You must get tempted all the time. Hey, I got, if you develop this for me, I'll give you a 50 million euro contract, right? Who makes the decisions to stay focused? Is that Darren, or is that culturally throughout the organization? You're just like, guys, we know what we're good at. We need to be careful not to get distracted.
Well, it's been, I remember when Dan started, I was talking to them and saying, the reason why we're so successful, and one of the things is, regarding our license, the majority of our net new license comes from net new customers. There's a reason for that. They see why we're different. we're, as I said, we're focused. We don't go after, banking or some of those other different areas, but they come to us. We remain focused. We can embed that technology. We can use it for them. And it's not just technology. We talk about delightful experiences, not just from a user experience. We've added industry lobbies, industry dashboards, interactive capabilities, embedding of Power BI in there without the user knowing. But it's also about how they handle all the updates and the whole life cycle of it. That's one of the key areas where we've invested a lot. And Darren's been very supportive of that, because we certainly see that there's, again, I think there's a McKinsey report that says user interface can improve the productivity of employees by 6 to 8%, just by having all of it set up and tailored for that particular user. So we've invested in there, and that's the key thing as well. But there's other technology that we've embedded in there, and that's the key thing.
Like a remote assistant, right? I mean, so
yes,
for that particular persona, critical, right?
And that could be the servicing of, a vending machine, as you mentioned before. It could be an aircraft, or it could be a particular vehicle out on the road. It really depends, using it in the right place for the right use case as well. That's where we put that focus in.
What's really, really fascinating to hear about what you're saying is, I was a Gartner analyst for 5 years on the emerging ERP space. So I'm going to date myself. This is the late 90s.
Yeah.
One disappointing thing in the industry has become is you have people who only have general ledgers and payroll, and they call themselves ERP. It's good to hear you talk about complex industries, doing really complex stuff, and not just the financial side, but the operational side of things in different industries. So that's kudos. Stay focused, and that'll keep making it different. What I'd like to do, Anthony, is get a drill down in at least 3 or 4 of those industries. Can we arrange that?
Absolutely, no problem at all. Or we can get the people to talk about, more in depth, more customers, what the solution is.
Have them present on a couple of case studies in each. That'd be great, is to drill down on each one of them, because I want to bring out how different IFS really is here. Any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. Why are we different? Industry depth. I've talked about the industries. Single product. We're unique in the market on what we cover. Innovation embedded. How users can use technology without them even being aware of it. Deployment choice. Yes, people talk about the cloud, but it doesn't have to be deployed in the cloud as well. And then delightful experiences, not just user experience, but the whole life cycle experience as well. Those are 5 things which I think really differentiate IFS from any of the competition.
I have a feeling you have memorized those 5 items.
I go to bed dreaming about these 5 things, Vinny.
I'm sure you have a more exciting life. Tell me about the cheetah behind you.
Oh, the cheetah. Remember when we used to be able to go on holidays? That was in Africa. And I grew up on a farm. I like animals. I grew up on a farm. I love seeing wildlife in their natural habitat. And to be able to see them, it was just fascinating. So I had to take a photo when I came back. I thought, yeah, I want to put that up on my wall, Vinny.
Well, you need to come visit us in Florida. We'll take you and show you some of our alligators. And
we'll be there in October. So yeah,
Excellent.
Be warned. I'll give you a knock on the door at our Unleashed event in October.
Okay. Put in a pitch for your event. October.
It's in October. It's in Miami. It's going to cover everything from our industry focus and why we're different, and also talk about some of the innovation that we're working on. So underneath the covers, what's cooking in our labs department. Loads of customers going to be there. Over 2,000 people. It's going to be great because it just lets us network and share ideas, as well as customers meet each other as well.
And I imagine in person, Anthony is even more animated. Yeah, I mean, you look boring right now in person.
I can be very animated, as you know, Vinny. So yeah,
you are so full of energy. It comes through the screen. So I'm just kidding. I'm sure you're much more so in person.
I'm much better in person, yeah. So you'll see me in October anyway, Vinny.
Wonderful. Look forward to having you here.
Cool.
Thank you.
Thank you, Vinny.